Hello, loves. How are you? Today, we're going to dive into a support message for the divine masculines here on the channel. And obviously, also feminines. You can look at this for your internal masculine or in your connection. I woke up, like, actually, about an hour before I woke up, I was really feeling this intense energy, almost a fitful energy of feeling a sense in the collective within the masculine field of having this feeling that there's a higher purpose or something that the masculines are intended to be doing, and feeling off course and uncertain of how to get across the bridge to where they're intended to be. There was like this energy coming up in the system around like where they are to where they want to be energy, and like a frustration building in the system around that. There's been over the past week or so messages coming in with the masculines, also this area and energy of self-punishment, places and spaces where the masculines kind of have that vision of what they know they're supposed to do, or even what they want to do, but then feeling unworthy or guilty of actually moving towards it because of maybe past experiences or how they behaved in the past or things that they've done. But here, I'm just going to say real quick, you can't know what you don't know till you know it. But there's also a very deep remedy for this situation and building that bridge to where you want to be. And one of the number one things to think about is the very things that the masculines, that you masculines or internal masculines are wanting to rectify and heal. It's been coming through very specifically, potentially around their connection with their feminine or other feminines, or just how they live their life up to a certain point until they became aware of some of these things. Like it's kind of like they were just going along, the masculines were doing what you knew how to do, and then something kind of like jolted you, and we're like, oh no, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't actually feel like me. This feels like what I've been taught or all that I've known, or my patterns are coming up in my system, and this isn't actually how I want to be. Clearly, you can hear my voice changing, so I'm thinking it's also something around communication. And it feels like being able to actually share what it is that you're experiencing or feeling. And what I'm sensing energetically is it's all kind of jumbled with the old information and then the truth of who you actually are at a soul level. So, part of wanting, one of the important things about rectifying the past is to actually unravel and dissolve the self punishment and actually allow yourself to start caring for yourself. Because the number one way for you to rectify the past, but also to now start showing up for others, including your feminine, in the present and into the future, is by showing up for yourself. Okay. So, all of those things that you're wanting to do and to accomplish and to create and to become live within that essence of you beginning to show up for yourself, or strengthening how you're showing up for and caring for yourself right now. And why this is so important in that rectification energy is that you can only hold a space for another as deeply as you're holding it for yourself. So this is actually the bridge. Okay, loves, the energy you're wanting to carry for your feminine and for your family and for your community. In order to be able to fully embody and sustain that, you have to start doing it for yourself first. As you embody it, as you show up for yourself, as you care for yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually first, then you can hold those energies for others in your life. This is why this is so important. So, actually allowing yourself to unravel and release the self punishment and the blame and the shame and the guilt is the key for you to come into those inner union states that you've been asking for. Okay. This does not mean that you're ignoring what has happened. It's about taking responsibility for what happened, but then releasing yourself from the guilt and the shame of it once you have learned your lesson. Okay. Because what I'm sensing is that some of you feel the guilt around feeling scared, like I hurt someone that I love and I didn't even know I was doing it. It was just so easy for me to do that. So now I hold back because I do not want to hurt a person that I love. I understand it. I get it. But this is the key piece that you know you're ready to let go is that you've self-reflected. You've become aware of your behavior. You've learned new solutions and new ways of being, right? You've been doing this work. And so you're not that same person that you were before. So this is where it's important to let yourself receive the results of what you've been doing and start slowly allowing yourself to open back up and practice the things that you've been learning as you allow yourself to unravel the guilt and the blame and the shame and the self-punishment. Okay. And if you're still kind of nervous about doing that, like that kind of nervousness that you might hurt someone again, well, one, we're human and none of us are perfect. So we're going to be learning. But what you could do is kind of set that intention in your system that if you start to feel yourself to going into any of those old energies or patterns, that your higher self will tap you on the shoulder and have you take a step back because you've learned how to pump the brakes. You've learned how to self-reflect. You've learned how to take responsibility for your part of things, or you're in the process. And just the fact that you're here, just the fact that you're open to these conversations and the self-reflection is setting you on that course to this self-mastery. And it's something that we're all learning how to work with. And if you watched any of my videos, you know that I talk about this self-compassion and the space and grace. Okay. What I'm sensing is in the past, there wasn't so much of these self-reflecting times. There really wasn't these thoughts. It was just a lot more action taking and doing what you were told to do, what you were shown, what the masculines in your life showed you how to do or taught you was the right thing. And if you didn't have a healthy masculine in your life, you might have just been out on the streets trying to figure it out. Like what you were seeing around you was influencing the decisions that you were making. And so just know that you were doing the best that you could with the information that you were given at the time. And I'm also sensing a lot of you were younger. Like, so also look at it as you're reparenting those parts of yourself. You're embodying your healthy masculine energies and you're sharing it with those parts of yourself from the past that were, say, acting from more wounded spaces due to whatever trauma you experienced or whatever was in your ancestral system. Okay. So this piece of having compassion for yourself is exceedingly important because that's how you're going to hold compassion for the feminine, for your feminines. Because the conversations that I've had with those of you who've been in session with me, I know very deeply you're here because you want to have that loving partnership in your life. You are wanting to sustain those energies and show up for yourself so that you can show up for those that you love and care about. Okay. And I'm so grateful for those of you who have been showing up here and connecting with me in session and feel safe and comfortable here on this channel. And I'm still available if you want to connect with me for one-on-ones. For those of you who feel that you could use that support of having a safe space to talk some of this out. Okay. Because I also understand that sometimes we have the old information coming up. At the same time, we have the new information coming up. And I won't even say it's new. It's like the remembrance of who you actually are is all intermingled and jumbled up with what you've learned or what you experienced here on this planet. And the two don't really match, right? But there is a way to create that bridge for yourself, but it can feel really overwhelming when you're first opening up to that, or even if you've started and then the more you open up and the farther you get along, more comes up. But this isn't because you've done something wrong. It's because this information was in your system and it's coming up to clear because you are ready to move through it. Okay. Um, so I just wanted to put that out there because I've just been shown, and it's been a very important thing for me, especially over the last 3 or 4 years, with this awareness of wanting to create a safe space for feminines and masculines alike, to be able to have these conversations without feeling judged, without feeling ridiculed within these energies, okay? Because there is a lot of that has been occurring on our planet. Okay. That could be a whole other video for sure. But I really wanted to focus on this part. So, with this, I'm going to dive into some messages for the masculines around this. Um, and for the feminines here watching, obviously, like I said, look at this for your internal energies, but also really noticing the masculines in your life. Yes, it could be a divine counterpart, but this can be coworkers, neighbors, friends, siblings, family members, just noticing because right now, collectively, we are going into a time where the masculines are going through very deep transformative process right now as a general collective that the feminines were walking through in a deeper way a few years ago. I also know feminines are still walking this. We're all on our own different trajectories, but these are kind of the bigger general collective energies that the masculines are now going through this process. Okay. And so for the feminines, just being aware that they are going through this, whether they're speaking about it or not, many of them are. Okay. So let's see. I was guided to actually get out my mystical shaman deck. And I was even guided to pull out the book in case we feel guided to dive into the messages in that. I don't always do that, but since it was my guidance, I have to honor that. I do. I feel those shaman aspects waking up within the masculines. And even before I pick this card, it's about restoring the masculine's true direct connection to the earth. Okay. We talk about the masculines being more in their lower chakras, but the piece that the overall collective has been maybe missing or not realizing is that, yes, maybe the masculines were working from those more grounded material world energies, attempting to create the energies of safety and stability and providing and protecting for their family and their loved ones. But there is a lot of that masculine's energy that has not been fully stabilized within his body or on the earth, because there was a lot of parts of him that have not fully felt safe to completely ground and embody on this planet. Which makes a lot of sense when you think about the things that have happened and occurred on this land. Mother Earth, in and of herself, is pure love and pure essence. But on her surface, on her land, we've seen war, slavery, racism, sexism, things that should never have been happening. The bottom line is that they have. So, what we're doing is working to clear and restore the energies back to their pristine states. But yes, the masculines have also not felt fully safe to fully embody all the way onto the planet in the past. Because in a lot of ways, it was safer for their higher self to stay popped out and observing from the eagle eye perspective. Okay. This is somewhat what creates the running energy or the freezing out energy. Those are all protective mechanisms that were necessary for survival. But what is happening now that the feminine collectives are more stable and safe, the masculines are now, because they held that space for the feminines to do that, the masculines are now preparing or in the process of grounding and stabilizing and thawing out more and more of their higher true essence so that they can embody deeper into the earth, into their body, right? And what this is going to do is empower the masculines to really bridge together what they know in the logical world, what they know how to do in the material world, with more and more of their inner soul wisdom and essence, grounding a significant more amount of their power in a balanced way onto the planet, restoring those sacred divine masculine essences that we spoke about. Okay. This is why masculines, it's so important for you to be taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually. This is bringing to me the importance, because one of you guys touched on it in one of the comments, is I was going to do a whole video around this at some point in and of itself, about the masculines also harnessing and protecting and caring for their own creative and sexual energies, because that is your life force essence. And that is a significant place and space where the masculines have been targeted out of their own true power. And I'm not saying to not connect or have sex, but I am saying to start to harness and hold your energy and essence for yourself for a time, if you feel guided, to learn the true essence and energy of your own life force, of your own power, of your own creation essence, before you're just going and giving it away to others. Okay. This is important, especially if you are wanting to align with your divine feminine, your sacred feminine partner. You're going to want to hold that essence for yourself and for your connection, versus sharing it out with other areas that aren't actually going to support you in creating the life that you want. Because something that maybe masculines aren't taught, right, is as you're giving your life force and your sexual energy and creative energy to other feminines, whether it's in an actual intimate relationship or through porn and other things like that, you're actually giving your essence and your creative power to those things. So if you're partaking in something like porn, all of that love energy and essence that you have within you is now going to that person, someone that's actually not even genuinely a part of your life. And this feels important to talk about, because any feminine essences that you're connecting with in that way, even if it's not in the actual 3D physically manifested way, just the fact that you're energetically connecting with that is pushing and putting your energy and your focus and attention on that. So any feminine energies or sexual energies that are not in alignment with where you want to be is actually pulling all of your essence out of alignment with where you're actually asking to head. And that feels very important to address, because I understand that the programming in our collective has taught you the exact opposite. In fact, many masculines feel like that they're supposed to be connecting sexually in order to be in alignment with being a masculine, or that it's okay to constantly be inappropriate and normal to be constantly connecting with pornographic energies. But the truth is that is one of the major ways that the masculines are being targeted out of their power, period, point blank. It's the number one thing that's coming in between the masculine and feminine collectives right here and right now on this planet. It is a very deep distortion away from true sacred sexuality, co-creation, sacred creation, and intimacy. Okay, I'm just going to keep it all the way real. And I'm not even judging it. It is what it is. And I'm also going to state this: if you're truly getting into alignment with yourself and you're in alignment with the feminine that you want, and you're co-creating the life that you want, and then you choose to bring in those things, fine. But if you're wanting that connection with your feminine and you're using that as a replacement, then just know that that is actually creating a distortion and a block between you and your connection, between you and who. If you're truly wanting that love in your life, these are some of the areas that you're going to want to clean up for yourself. Okay. And like I said, again, this is not in judgment that I am speaking to you. Okay. This is where the masculines have been targeted. And I want you to sit with this. I have a feeling a lot of you have already looked into this and probably have transmuted quite a bit of it, but I'm also aware. I feel like there is way more with this. So if you want me to speak on it, or you want more information, or you have specific questions or feedback for me as a masculine, please drop it in the comments or feel free to email me, okay? Last year around this time, it came through and I was doing a very specific session around unraveling and dissolving sexual distortion. Okay. And if that's something you guys would like, we could definitely do that as well. And really, the intention behind that is to just restore you to your true life force and energy and true sexual creative power versus swimming in all of the distortion that's been passed down and infiltrated into the general collective consciousness. Okay. I didn't know how this was all going to come out like this, but yeah, there's a lot that the masculines are going through right now. I just talked about some really big things. So, for those of you here, please hold compassion for yourself as you're working through these things for yourself, or as you've worked through them, you're holding that space for the other masculines. Okay. And it doesn't mean you have to go do something specifically with them, but just know that those of you who are doing this work are leading the way for the future generations, but also for the other masculines on the planet working through this or beginning to get the inklings that it's time. They're hearing the call, is what I'm hearing right now. I'm sensing that there is a lot of divine higher power energy that's coming in to support the masculines as well as they're going through this thawing out process. So, yes, now that we talked about all that, I'm going to get this card from Mystical Shaman. Let's see how it all ties together. I hope this is all making sense. All right, we got the magic card, and it's number 33. Love it. Okay, I am going to say for me, this is about the magic of your internal feminine masculines, like calling on that energy and essence, connecting with your divine feminine in the energetic field, asking for her support if you feel guided to do so. It's okay. Remember, she holds the codes, an understanding of some of the things that you're going through right now, the same way that you held codes and hold codes for her of what she's been learning how to stabilize. Okay. So if you feel guided, call on the support of your feminine partner. Okay. Your divine feminine twin flame co-creator, divine counterpart essence. Okay, whether it's an actual physical being person that you know, or your own full, complete soul, higher essence. Okay, however it comes through for you. But it's also bringing this element of, like we spoke about, reparenting that inner child, reparenting that part of yourself that was just doing the best of that you could. And as you reparent that part of yourself, imagine the parts where you've been self-punishing. Instead of seeing it as you right now, as a grown man, or a grown woman working with your masculine energies, however it resonates, you guys know. Look at it as a child. Imagine you're 13, 14, 15, whatever age comes to your mind. How would you treat that child? Would you punish him or her? Or would you sit down and make sure that they're receiving the information that they need? Would you allow them to be nourished and nurtured? Would you hold sacred, safe space for them to move into their true creative energies without the distortion of what society told? Would you hold space for them to truly get to understand and wield and learn their own sexual power and creative energy in a way that is sacredly beautiful and not distorted? To a space and a place where we can feel completely comfortable in our sexuality versus feeling ashamed and or distorted. Okay, because where we're taught to feel ashamed of who we are sexually is why we sometimes go into those other shadow areas to explore those parts of our sexuality, which I get. Problem is that those other areas are actually designed to siphon your energy. So creating a safe space for yourself to completely explore your true sexuality in all of the aspects of it without it being siphoned off of or without it pulling you out of your true power. Allow yourself to feel everything you feel and to explore the things that you want to explore, but without the shame and the blame and the guilt. Okay. Without the distortion of being told that this is what it means to be a sexual person. Because what's coming to me is a very, very, very important message. The feminines have been in a position to not have a safe space to completely and fully express their true sexual co-creative nature because there was so much distortion between her and her masculine. If the divine feminine has a safe, stable space to completely open up and be all of who she is, and the masculine is in a clear, safe, and stable space to receive that, he's not going to care or need any of those other things because his feminine is designed to fulfill him in those ways and vice versa. You see what I mean? It's the distortion that creates the space. It removes the intimacy. The true intimacy is where the true connection lives and where you can receive what it is you're actually seeking. Because I also know those of you who have partook in those things are not actually feeling the satisfaction that you've truly wanted. It's like not scratching the itch, okay? It's just becoming more annoying is what's coming through. So allow yourself to really step into the magic of all of who you are, releasing all of those feelings that you've had from the past, letting yourself unravel out of those collective distortions, finding who you truly are and what really feels in alignment for you and what you really want to experience for yourself, with yourself, but also in a partnership with a feminine that actually matches you and what you want to create. Okay, loves? Because also, this goes for everyone, feminines or masculines. If you're interacting with others, especially in a sexual manner, that aren't people who are truly in alignment with what you want to create, that means you are giving your creative power to another person, and you're only going to be able to create within that sphere of what they can hold with you. So if you're doing that and you're feeling limited on the things you are trying to manifest in your life, this is an area you're going to want to look at. And if you're feeling really stuck, I'm going to encourage some of you to explore the idea of sexual transmutation and holding your energy, spending some time being celibate for a while, abstaining, focusing that energy on yourself. Think about it. Some of you are probably already doing it because you're deep in this work and you're finding that you just have to do that. But it feels important to acknowledge that as a possibility for your own deep healing. Okay. I am going to read this real quick. I know this message is getting long, but I'm feeling like the masculines are really going through quite a bit. And I wanted to bring this in for you. Magic. This symbol represents the infinite intelligence of Great Spirit that makes up the fundamental fabric of the universe. We experience the evidence of this magic through synchronicities or meaningful coincidence. The invitation of this card. When magic appears, you are invited to see the world through the eyes of wonder and awe, taking on the innocence of a child who knows that all things are possible. Infinite potential exists in the great mind, and you are being invited to call it in and recognize the dance and synchronistic events, signs, symbols, and omens given to you through the oracle of the ordinary world. This is a sign that Spirit is reminding you that you co create your world in a sacred partnership. Your part is to dream, to intend, and to watch for the signs that show you what next action to take. Right now, it appears that you're on the right track to make your dreams come true. Great Spirit is listening and acting on your behalf. Pay attention. Magic gives birth to miracles. I'm feeling quite a bit of emotion because I really feel some positive support. Like I said, that divine energy is supporting the masculines. And if you found yourself here today listening to this message, this is part of your signs that you're on the right track, loves. The medicine of the magic. Have you forgotten that you live in a world that is infused with magic? Perhaps you've become cynical and think you have to create your life all by yourself with no help from others. It's time to remember your relationship to Source, for you're a part of the story of the world, of a living spark of spirit living on earth for the short time as an emissary of light. If you look back over your life, you will find many instances in which your actions alone were not the cause of out of the blue coincidences that led you to the new relationship, job, or other important moments on your journey. So, how do you stay in this awareness? The answer is simple. If you can be a little child and cultivate that wondrous curiosity, you'll see the magic again and be amazed. Remember, magic is real and in everything. I love this because I feel it's so important, and I can sense in the energetic field where the masculines, where you're actually allowing yourself to start to receive the support. And I can sense that it's bringing up other things that you're working through. And I want you to know that that is very normal. I know sometimes it takes so much for us to get to this space to really allow ourselves to do this work and to receive. And so when we start that process and it feels a little bit more messy or uncomfortable, it can feel frustrating. But I want you to know that it's a very normal part of the process. You're not doing anything wrong. It actually means you're strong enough to move through the clouds of confusion and into the clarity and beautiful energy that you have always been meant to do. Okay, that you've always been deep inside of you. So, whatever came up for you or connected with you in this message today, please allow yourself to come into a state of forgiveness and self compassion and understand that this is the process that will allow you to strengthen all of those beautiful muscles, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, that are going to allow you to embody exactly who you've always intended to be. And I know that you're on this process and that you're doing it. And I'm so grateful that you're here. And I'm grateful to be able to support you in whatever ways are in alignment. And I love you, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. You know, as always, I would love to hear from you. I'm going to put my one-on-one session schedule in the pinned comment for you. And I'm also going to drop in the most recent masculine previous message that I did a few weeks ago on restoring divine and sacred masculine essences to the planet. Because if you haven't watched that yet, it may really support and work deeper with what we did here today. And I love you. Again, have a beautiful rest of your day, and we'll talk.